What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new episode of Wizland with Wiz. Happy to be with you guys today. Welcome to the third episode of Wizland. If you don't know what this podcast is about, it is myself. I'm an artist trying to reach the full potential of my career, within my career, and also within who I am. And that is work. That is about making and putting in the work day in and day out, and me just tracking and documenting the journey from this point on until whenever I do end up in the spot that I believe I can one day attain. If you're new here, I'm just trying to be real with you guys. I'm just trying to share a message that you don't have to much live within a box if you and within labels, meaning that people tend to believe that you can only be an artist, or you can only be an athlete, or you can only be a particular title. Then I want you to start believing that no, that we as humans have so much potential, and we can do whatever we put our minds to. And honestly, allowing ourselves to go through the motions of the boring stuff and going through the motions of the monotonous is what will be the hardest part of the entire process. So within that, that's why I decided to make this podcast, because this is also a promise that I've made to myself, that I want to create minimum one video a week where I can actually create content that I'm going through, or things that I've gone through, or things that I'm going through at the moment, or things that I will and am working on to get better at, because I believe that it is the perfect way to share and really relate to anyone out there that's also starting or thinking of starting something new. Because for the most part, when you look at social media, most people share when they've made it, when they have made it, when they are now at the top. That's when they start sharing their beautiful things that they have attained. And there's not many people sharing the bottom, and there's not many people sharing the step one. So my goal with this podcast is for you guys to come back to it years from now. I really don't care if one person watches this right now, or if 1,000 people watch it. I really don't care about that, man. I'm just trying to put it out there, so one day when I do attain my vision of where I want to go and where I want to be at, you guys can come back and see where it started from. Because it's not easy, man. Like, you and most of us have goals, have dreams, but when we start from the bottom, or we don't have the cosign from somebody known or anything like that, it's going to be very difficult. If you're the first person in your family doing it or attempting to do it, it's going to be twice as harder to do it. So me knowing that, that's the main purpose of this podcast, me able to share the bottom, the first step, and from there keep growing, keep getting better, because we're not getting stuck, we're not staying at the same level forever. So today's podcast, if you're watching this on YouTube, you read the title of the video, which is "Have You Already Quit?" And the reason I wanted to share this is because a lot of people already quit their goals for this year without noticing that they've done it. They already quit. If you had goals, or you have goals, you understand that it is a process of 365 days. And it's not a process of a day or a week. It's not. A lot of people start very strong. Example at the fitness. The first week of the year, for the most part, gyms are popping. Everybody from Monday to Fridays, they're at the gym working out, going hard, trying to put in that work at the gym. Once you get to week 3, that's when you start seeing people diminish. The amount of people diminishing in the gym, maybe from Wednesday to the weekend. That's when you start seeing the levels of people going into the gym lessen and lessen and lessen. And that's natural. That's 99% of people. That's what our population and society, for the most part, does. It's beautiful to start off a new journey, a new commitment, with the highest motivation that one can have. It's very cool to see that, but it's very difficult to maintain it. So that's what I want to talk about today, because If you see yourself in an aspect where you already quit, I just want to remind you it's not late. It's not too late to restart. Uh, and that's a message for myself. That's something that I've learned this year, coming into this year, because at the end of every year, like the last 3 4 years, I've become more consistent with me, reminding myself and going back on seeing the things that I've achieved on a personal stance, with my actions, with my business, with the people around me. If I'm becoming a better communicator and things of that nature, I keep track of that because I want to see if I'm growing or if I'm getting worse, And if you're getting worse, it's perfectly fine as long as you notice it. I think that all of us, for the most part, if we don't have someone in our corner or someone that around our circle that is they're self-aware or things like that, uh, it's going to be very difficult for us to develop in that sense where we become very aware of ourselves and what we're lacking in and what we're good at. But it takes time, right? So it takes time. And for me, that's been one of the main things that I've been able to develop within the last 3 years. Become more self aware, go back and see what I've done within maybe the last 4 weeks, and get better at the things that I'm getting worse at, and continue to improve the things that I'm good at. And if you really do that, you know what you're good at. And if you're trying to become better at them, you're gonna know where to make those improvements in. And if you're just living life for the most part, I mean, I think that once you get to a certain level, you can just go through those natural things. They're gonna become second nature. But when you're starting off like myself, it does take a lot of work for you to get from your old self to the new self. So today's message, with me saying that the main reason I wanted to create today's video is because one of the main concepts that I've applied and that will continue to apply for the rest of my life is if I miss one thing one day, not allowing it to happen 2 times in a row. I heard this, I believe, through someone said it on a podcast, and it made so much sense to me because we're so difficult with ourselves for the most part. And I think that if you're in that process or in that road where you're trying to become better, there's no one around us that is harder to ourselves than ourselves. And only we understand that. We understand that maybe if somebody next to us judges us or tells us something and we're like, yeah, I know that, what they said is not that it got in our nerves or things like that, but it becomes like a reminder because we are aware of our own internal issues, right? So if you're someone in that road that wants to become better, your thing and our thing would be to stop allowing failure to happen on a back-to-back basis. And that can mean if you promise yourself that you're going to the gym the entire week and you miss Tuesday, you are supposed to go back on Wednesday. Not because you missed Tuesday, you're gonna now miss the entire week, just because you were not able to stick to your promise of going into the week 5 days a week. I believe that for the longest I was in that other side, that because I eat bad one day and I've promised myself that I wanted to eat better, that just because I'm fucked up this one day, now I'm allowing that to continue on to be in a cycle, and I'm gonna fuck up the day after that, until I'm like, oh shit, like it's been 3 days and I really need to get back on track. No, it's not supposed to be like that, because the more you allow your failures to be a reality in your life, the more they're going to be ingrained habits that are going to become harder for us and for you, and obviously for myself. There's things that I've realized that the harder it become for me to get away from those bad habits. If I don't clean my room at least once or twice a week, and I go almost a month without cleaning it, it becomes more difficult for me to go back and keep a clean room. The same with your car, the same with yourself, the same with your priorities. If you're missing your goals on a consistent basis, they're not going to become, you're not going to attain them. And we're just living in our own delusion that one day we will get to where we want to be. And that's the main thing, man. Like, I believe that everyone starts with motivation, and we allow to get motivated, and in that very instant we take action, or we're in this state of dopamine that we are just excited to go and do whatever we want to do in that moment. And that's fine, but are you going to stop when you don't feel like doing it? And I think that's been the main struggle that I have, that's the reason why I haven't been able to get to where I want to be quicker. I've become more aware in the last year and a half. uh my journey with me becoming better and me allowing myself to grow and me being honest with myself started when back in 20, I would say 2018. That was when I started my journey. And that's when I started to understand that I was very much behind. um not necessarily uh not necessarily me comparing myself to someone else, but more so me being honest with myself. Me seeing that if I was where I wanted to be in life at that very moment, when I was back in 2018, when I was in my mid 20s, was I where I wanted to be? And it was a very uh awaken. It was a very awakening day for me, because I was like, damn, like I saw myself somewhere else, and I was very much disappointed that I had not gotten, or I was not where I wanted to be at that very point in time. And while I could have been like, "Fuck this, it's gonna be hard," like I'm just gonna quit. That made me start reading. That made me start realizing all the different things where I needed to grow in, and that's where I started. And ever since, it's been a an ongoing process of me doing different things, me trying to get better, me trying to become more knowledgeable about business, me becoming more knowledgeable of how to be a better man, me becoming more knowledgeable how can I be a better son, a better brother, a better uh, boyfriend, a better everything, right? Like just trying to get better of all these different things. And up to this point, I know I'm in the best position I could be at this very moment. But that's me being self aware of where I was and where I am. So if you're the person that told yourself that you had goals for this year, and for whatever reason, maybe you got sick, because I am aware that like I got sick back in December, part like the last week of December, I got sick. And I've heard and I've seen a lot of people getting sick with flu like symptoms and things of that nature. And I get it, that's fine. You got sick, okay, you got sick. As soon as you get better, as soon as you feel 100%, as you feel like yourself, as soon as you feel like yourself, get up and get back to work. The year just started. Don't be one of those people that has given up in their dreams or has given up in their goals for this year just because you miss a couple of days. We're not even 2 months in. Don't allow the failure that you've had up to this point determine what you're going to do next. If you had a promise to yourself, keep that promise, because what I've learned is that we we change our lives once we start keeping the promises we make to ourselves. If you told yourself you're going to do this and you do it, and it doesn't matter how long it takes you, but you do it and you follow through with it, you are going to build confidence just by those actions. The more you do that, the more confident you're going to become, because now you can prove to yourself that whatever you say, that is what it goes. You're not going to feel like if you say something, it's not going to happen or it's not going to become true. You're going to be confident that it will. You don't know when, you don't know how, but you'll figure it out and you're going to fulfill it with time. And that's one of the things that I've learned within the last year to 2 years. It's all about our commitment to ourselves. It's all about us following our word. And that's why I believe that your worth is your word. I truly believe that. Your word is your worth. If you can't keep a promise, or if you can't keep a simple a simple statement that you say and follow with it and complete that statement, whatever it is. I'm going to make a video each week. I'm going to the gym today. I'm gonna eat better today. I'm gonna eat this today. Uh, with your friends, yeah, I'm gonna do this with you. Let's are you gonna go out? I'm gonna meet you there at this time. Whatever it is, if you can't keep your small promises or big promises or whatever type of promise you make to yourself or statement you state out loud, then you have a lot of work to do. And trust me, guys, it's something I'm going through too. I mean, I'm going through it. That's why I'm talking about it. It's something that I am working on, and that I hope to improve and become an expert at with time. Like I want to be able to, at any point that I say something, not only do I know that, but everybody around me knows that if I say something, that's what's going to happen. There's no questioning about it. There's nothing negative to say about it. That's the truth. And I believe that's a very humble and very respectable way of living life, when you can actually build your word to a worth of where nobody questions it, and because everybody knows that you have a good character, and everybody knows that because of your promises you've been able to fulfill those promises. I think life does become easier that way. But yeah, guys, today's message was that do not allow 2 consecutive days. Do not fail 2 days in a row. And obviously, if you fail 2 or 3, 4, whatever it is, right? We're just starting off the year. Don't quit yet. Allow yourself to grow through this year. And not only this year, allow yourself to go through life, man. I believe that how everything is developing, I believe that if you're anywhere from 20 years old to all the way to 75 years old, that's a big age gap. You can still live and change your ways, because more than likely you have 5 to 10 years left, and within that time frame we can change our lives immensely. You can be day and night and be to a point where you've changed who you are, how people see you, and what you attain within that time frame. Is there's no limit to it, but it's on us to believe in it. It's on us to do the work, and it's on us to not keep failing day in and day out. So yeah, guys, if you watched today's video, if you listened to today's podcast all the way through, I appreciate you guys. Hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Finish the week strong, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Peace.